Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to MUFC vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. So appreciative that you guys are back with me today for a Manchester United news roundup. Going to be a little bit of a short one today. Not a whole lot going on, but I think that by the end of the day, we're going to see some more updates. And I think surely before the end of the week, we're going to see something too. But I did want to stop by and share a few thoughts on some of what's been going on just this morning before I head out for the day. Before we do get started, please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. And then, go check me out on Twitter, MUFC vs. Everybody. I did a little tweeting during the Euros yesterday, which I'll dive into here in a little bit. But let's get started. So obviously, Dan Ashworth has officially, joined us. He's officially starting work. The club released that joint statement yesterday alongside Newcastle. Both of them gave their thoughts. Like I said yesterday, it sounds like a compromise has been agreed with. I don't think we know for sure what that fee was. I know for sure it wasn't the 20 million like some Newcastle outlets or someplace like ESPN will lead you to believe. I don't think it's as low as some of what I've been reading. I do think it's more in that mid-range between like 9 to 12 million, somewhere in there. But we'll see. We might not ever know. But we will see what happens there. But it does look like Dan Ashworth is officially, it sounds like he's already getting to work since he was able to start immediately. I've seen some reports that he's already kind of getting involved in some of these deals. He's already making some contacts. So let's just get him to work, get some feet on the ground, let him get his hands dirty, roll up his sleeves, and let's get this job done here. But I'm excited. I do think that it's a good appointment. I do think that it's good for us at United just in general to have a director of football and even more so a competent one. Again, it is a bummer that we had to wait so long and we're kind of doing this back and forth thing with Newcastle, but it is what it is. So good to see Dan Ashworth get to work, get some signings done, and let's get going. As far as recruitment structure is concerned, one of the bigger announcements that's come out recently is INEOS have also added a new name to our recruitment staff in Christopher Vivell. He's 37 years old, German. He's only signed to us on a temporary contract, though. It sounds like he's just a temporary director of recruitment for this summer to handle our business. Sounds like he's got some experience too working with the Red Bull group, both Salzburg and Leipzig, in that multi-club model. So it sounds like he brings with him a little bit of experience just negotiating and navigating that kind of gray area. We've already seen in some ways like City. I know Chelsea have some decent relationships with other clubs like Vitesse, and obviously the Red Bull group, and now United with Sir Jim and INEOS owning Nice as well. The rules, regulations, can all be a little gray and complicated. We've seen clubs like Salzburg and Leipzig constantly move players between the two of them, even though they're involved in Champions League. City have Savio, who was at Troyes, and then went on loan to Girona, but now is coming to City, even though Girona and City are in the Champions League. And I know people are going to say, well, that's he's signed from Troy. Troy aren't in the Champions League, so it doesn't count. Well, again, it seems like the rules are different for everybody. It seems like we're not allowed to sign Todibo, but because we're in the Champions League or the Europa League, and Nice are in the Europa League, but it doesn't seem to stop other clubs. So again, I'm not going to pretend to know the intricacies of the UEFA's regulations in that regard. It's just you look at a couple different situations and it seems a little off. But in any case, Vivell has worked also with Hoffenheim, where he started as an analyst when he was just 23 years old. And then he later became the first team scout at Hoffenheim because his talent ID apparently is very, very good. He also worked, at Hoffenheim alongside Julian Nagelsmann while Nagelsmann was there, making a really good name for himself, another young guy. He was then hired by RB Salzburg as their head of scouting. So still very young, did such a great job at Hoffenheim that he was promoted to Hoffenheim and then hired by Salzburg to be their head of scouting, which is a big deal, especially in the Red Bull group, which is known for its talent identification, its scouting, its recruitment, its development. And then he went and spent 2 years at as RB Leipzig's technical director, so another big promotion. So the guy has got some pedigree. He worked at Chelsea for a little bit as technical director, right? But it sounds like he left after a few months. Now the details on that are a little muddy. If there's any Chelsea fans out there, anybody watching knows a little bit. I don't follow Chelsea very closely because they're kind of a joke, and I'm a United fan. But I'm reading that he left Chelsea and was put on gardening leave very shortly after he joined. It sounds like he had a very definitive kind of idea of what his decision-making powers were and what his role was. And then after he was appointed, there was a little bit of restructuring behind the scenes at Chelsea by Todd Boehly. And then that removed a lot of Vavell's decision-making power. He went from being the guy who kind of makes a lot of decisions to then having to answer to a couple other people. And I don't think he liked that very much. And whether that was a mutual thing, whether that was he just walked, I don't know. But that's what it sounds like. But we're bringing him in. He sounds like he's got a good eye for talent. He's got experience working with a multi-club model. And what we've really been lacking is not only a recruitment structure in general, but a quality recruitment structure. When it's come to talent ID and recruitment, it's been very hit or miss. It doesn't help that we've had so many different managers at United over the last decade, right? We're on our fifth or sixth one. And instead of kind of maintaining a club ethos and a philosophy, we've kind of hired players or signed players for each of these managers, which just doesn't work. Not only does it leave you with a Frankenstein's monster of a squad, but it really hinders individual player development. And I've spoken about that before a while back on just the club turnover, the managerial turnover, and what that does to an individual player development. If you want to learn more, go check out the book Edge by Ben Littleton. I have it back here behind me somewhere. I've quoted that a few times, but it's a really good book. Ben Littleton just writes banger after banger. His book, it's going to sound funny. Some people have laughed at me when I've told them this, but he wrote a book called 12 Yards, right? The philosophy of the perfect spot kick, basically. It's all about penalties, whether it's England's penalty shootout or just the psychology statistics that go into it, all the different correlations and involved with penalty kicks. The book probably 2 or 3 times, but Littleton just writes bangers. So go check that out. Go check out Edge too if you want to learn a little bit more about turnover rate, individual player development, cohesion. There's a whole chapter so in that book, basically Ben Littleton meets with different footballing sports personalities. There's a chapter where he met with Graham Potter. There's Thomas Tuchel one. There's a whole one on Athletic Bilbao. Very good book. But anyway, go check that out. So hopefully we will see some improvements. We've got a lot of people involved now. Barada, we're still waiting on Wilcox. Ashworth is official now. Vavell. Jean-Claude Blanc is involved. Let's see what happens. Dark Crow, hello, brother. Hey, man, how you doing? Appreciate the love. Appreciate you stopping by. So Vavell has also been involved in the signings of quite a few notable players during his time in various clubs. During the Red Bull period of his career, he was involved in the signing of Benjamin Sesko, Karim Adeyemi. I really like Karim Adeyemi. Erling Haaland obviously went through that system. Dominik Szoboszlai went through that system. Joško Vardiol, he signed from Dinamo Zagreb, and obviously he made that big money move to Man City. Mohamed Simakan, who I've spoken about before in past videos. I really like Simakan. He's a very good defender and more. He's also helped negotiate a lot of the sales of big players like Dayo Upamecano to Bayern Munich, Ibrahim Konate to Liverpool during that time as well. So he's a guy who knows transfers, he knows talent, and he knows about, again, navigating that multi-club structure. So we'll see what happens. I like what I'm seeing. It's reported that Vavell has already accepted the United role, and all that's left right now is waiting for the work permit to be finalized and approved. It's starting to feel more and more, and maybe you agree with me, maybe not, let me know your thoughts, that INEOS have a view coming in, and Sir Jim has kind of hinted to this in interviews, that a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, a lot of the recruitment and structure, or really the lack thereof, has been the bigger issue at United over the last decade especially. Hence, this complete overhaul that we've seen behind the scenes. And I think that the word that I keep coming back to here to describe what INEOS are trying to tackle is environment. The environment behind the scenes, dressing room, the environment in the working, like the offices, the environment, the structure, recruitment environment, the stadium environment when it comes to, the fans having this positive quality experience. We're seeing a lot of changes coming to the stadium, and there's already talks of renovating or buying a new stadium. And now this big overhaul of the recruitment structure, it kind of reflects that as well. And I don't disagree with that, this recruitment structure has been a big issue that we've needed to really address. I'm not holding my breath that it's going to run like a well-oiled machine right off the bat. Kind of like, we saw Chelsea sign all those players. It might take a little bit, some growing pains for everybody to kind of get settled in, work with each other, figure it out, kind of realize how each other works and operates. It's the same with any organization, any team. It's going to take a little bit of settling in period. So hopefully we can iron that out quickly, get to work, focus on the job, and get it done. I would be happy to be wrong, though. I'd be happy that, to see things run smoothly. So what are your thoughts on what INEOS are doing with the structure, the recruitment staff, getting Ashworth over the line? What are your hopes for that? What are the biggest issues you see that maybe need to be addressed? Curious to hear your thoughts. Moving on to a little bit of transfer news. So United's move for Bayern Munich defender Matthias de Ligt could be kind of nearing completion here in the next week or so. Ben Jacobs reported this morning that United and Bayern are currently negotiating a deal worth around 34 million pounds. That's the number he threw out. And that's the package apparently that United are starting with, that 34 million with add-ons included. I don't think that Bayern are going to go for that. But you got to start somewhere, right? It's like when I see something on eBay or something that I want, I lowball and then we start from there. You'd be surprised at the kind of low prices I get, or the low fees I pay for some of the crap I buy on eBay. And then we've got some other thoughts coming from German journalist Christopher Mickel. He's reported, actually just before I went live, he reported this. So he's given an update on the fee for de Ligt, saying that our opening offer was around 40 million euros, including add-ons. So the whole package, 40 million, but Bayern wanted more than 50 million with all the package. So about 10, 15 million part there. Mikkel goes on to say that Bayern are now open to 50 million, including add-ons. So obviously the negotiating process is going down. And you're going to see this a lot when it comes to transfers. A lot of talk about, United are thinking about offering this. And a lot of this goes on. It's not like buying a house. Like when you're buying a house, right, you're not really allowed to go back and forth verbally, not on paper with offers. You put in an offer and that's it. And then you go counter that. It's very official. This is a little different. Usually before an official offer goes in, there is a lot of back and forth because there are agents involved. There are technical directors involved, ownership involved, player, agent, all of that's involved. So a lot of that goes on, and then you usually get an official offer after you get a little closer. You might get one or two back and forth here and there, but that's usually how it works. Mikkel also added that de Ligt is also open to a wage reduction. I think he currently gets paid like 15 million a year at Bayern. And so I think Mikkel mentioned he might be open to like a 12 million a year. I think that would put him on like Harry Maguire level wages, kind of in that like 180, 190, 200 a week bracket, which is not horrible for a 24-year-old defender of Matthias de Ligt's quality and leadership. Again, the thing that, and I've said this many times now, my issue with de Ligt is just his injuries. You can go check out my latest video on that. I do talk a little bit more about that. He's got 3 different knee injuries to both knees over the last couple of years. It's worrisome. Our medical staff is not the greatest. Obviously, it's literally we've got Dr. Dre, Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Seuss sitting in the physio room at United. It's embarrassing the way our players they go in, and it's like being back in the 1800s. You get a cough, and everyone just, all right, well, he was a good run. See you later. Well done. It's a little ridiculous. So that would have been probably one of my first priorities, honestly, about INEOS, is just kicking everybody out of the medical room and hiring a whole new staff. But we'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on Matthias de Ligt? Do you like the signing? Do you not like the signing? What are your other targets? I know that Branthwaite kind of looks off the table. Todibo, as it stands, kind of off the table. I don't know if we were ever seriously in for Gleason Bremer. We'll see what happens with the rest of this, though. There were supporters, though, reports today coming out that Bayern Munich supporters had actually started a petition to keep Matthias de Ligt at the club. That's coming from Dutch journalist Mike Verwijs. If true, if Bayern Munich supporters have started a petition to keep Ligt at the club. Is that odd to anyone else? I mean, we know that Bayern supporters love a petition. They love to protest. I get, and that's not a dig. I'm just going by literal evidence. They did petition to keep Thomas Tuchel at the club the last couple months of the season, and I'm pretty sure they did like a mass protest, or there was a big outcry, or maybe even a petition as well. A few years, it was like 5-6 years ago, over the colors of the home strip. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do feel like that happened. I feel like they're very, very vocal, these Bayern supporters. But that's what you see that a lot from club supporters. I'm not necessarily against it. It just seems odd that they're protesting so many decisions from the ownership. We know that there's been a big shakeup in Bayern's kind of boardroom level in the last year or so. A lot of things changing, a lot of managers coming and going, and they did not do as well this year as in terms of trophies as they used to. They did get they got more points this year this last year than they did the year prior. And literally Leverkusen had to go undefeated just to win Bundesliga. I mean, that's a big deal. So, but it's interesting. We'll see what happens with the Ligt. Speaking of transfers, though, I did not forget about you guys. You remember, so we just did another giveaway yesterday. Was it day before yesterday? I announced the winner of that second giveaway. That was for the giveaway that we were initially doing when we won. If I said, if we won the FA Cup, I would do another giveaway. So I did promise yesterday, though, that I would do another one when we signed our first team player this summer. So with some of these talks up and coming, I did tell you the other day that I would show you what we're going to give away. So this is what we're giving away in the next video. So I don't know if you guys can see this. It's another pre-match top, nothing on the back, from this last season. Maybe it was 2 seasons ago. It's brand new. It's men's medium. This is the pre-match. Now this is not the sewn-on patch, right? This is, if you could see it in there, this is that heat transfer. This is that good stuff, guys. This is that heat-ready stuff. Got the red on the sleeves. The sleeves kind of go into the little, kind of like that darker red or that thinner red in there. That's pretty cool. I actually really like this stop a lot. So to get involved in the giveaways, you just, it's very simple. You just subscribe to the channel, like the videos. I see everyone who likes the videos. I see everybody who subscribes. I see who's getting involved. It can't hurt your chances to leave some comments, get involved in the live chat like Darkrow has done today, like a lot of people did in my last live stream. But that's what we're doing for the next giveaway. I'll probably announce the winner of that next week. But I said, just get subscribed, get involved. Let me know your thoughts on different things. And glad to give back. It's been such a big boost in subscribers and people getting involved over the last week or so. I think a lot of people have liked, the videos on Rene Haka, on Ruud van Nistelrooy, Dan Ashworth announcement and everything. So I'm glad to see it. And I'm so appreciative and thankful, and I just want to give something back. So that's how I'm doing that. So that is the news giveaway. It's another pre-match top, but get involved. And there has been some breaking news just before I went live, actually. We've just signed Tom Heaton to a new 1-year contract, and that's coming from Simon Peach. He was the first guy I saw that posted that. Heaton apparently had some offers for some other clubs, but chose to stay on at United. I don't necessarily have a problem with Heaton staying. I know some people are not happy that we're upping contracts potentially for like Johnny Evans and now Heaton when we let Varane go for free, for instance. Heaton is experienced. He knows the club. It sounds like he's a good leadership presence in the dressing room, which I think is invaluable. You really need that. And Heaton's basically a goalkeeping coach at this point, kind of like Lee Grant was a couple of years back. He's helping in training. He's getting involved. He's always ready. I mean, he doesn't complain. He sounds like he's just, people may look at that and think, oh, he's just happy to be here. And maybe so, but what's the deal? If we get rid of Heaton, we might be getting rid of Bayern as well. Again, any player that leaves that isn't like excess, like a Brandon Williams or something, you have to replace. So we'll see what happens. There were some rumors that Bayern would be going maybe back to Turkey. There were some rumors that we were back in for Zion Suzuki, that Japanese international keeper that we were after last summer that we didn't get. But we'll see what happens on the goalkeeping front. But it does sound like Tom Heaton is staying for another year. I would imagine we might see a similar announcement regarding Johnny Evans this week. Again, like I said, once July started and that new financial period hit, we're going to see some domino effect going on. And I think this is kind of the beginning. So a little bit of random news today. Obviously, we've talked a lot in the past about INEOS, looking and assessing and taking an audit of everything from the training ground, the dressing rooms, the stadiums, the offices. Are we going to build a new stadium? Are we going to renovate Old Trafford? But now it sounds, and we've seen some photos actually, if you want to go check out United's accounts, renovations have started a little bit at Old Trafford. And this is the players' tunnel. So if you know, that players' tunnel comes right out of that corner of the pitch, right by the Stratford end. Players come out. It empties into the players' entrance. If you're there on match day, it's usually, you get there a couple hours ahead of time. It's usually railed off, but the players, Ten Hag, everybody will come walking in. They'll usually stop and give some autographs, take some photos. Some of them are pretty cool about it. There's always a ton of people there. But it's really fun. I have a photo with Bruno from when I was there in the fall. He's a super nice guy, super appreciative that he stopped for a second. So it was really cool. So announcement from United regarding this players tunnel overhaul. They have said the objective is to create a performance environment that will inspire and motivate our men's, women's, and academy players on match days. Led by the football department, this summer's refurbishment will introduce a more modern and premium space for the squads to utilize. Again, I saw the photos. So I don't know if you've ever been down the players tunnel. Usually you're only going to go down there if you do the stadium tour. And I've done the stadium tour, so you get to come right out of the dressing room, go down through the tunnel, walk along the pitch, go up into the bench, the players' bench, and you can take photos there if you want. But the tunnel's pretty cool. They've got 2 plaques there about some key figures in the club. So former president, block on one side, white cinder block on the other, time for the visitors and the player. The finish, it looks clean. I like it. It looks modern. They'll have to obviously keep that entrance the same size because it has to be. It goes right out to like basically the parking area, so it has to be big enough for ambulances and even a fire truck to get in and out of. And so that long tunnel that extends, that gets brought in and raised to make room. So sounds like work on that's going to be completed for the new season. So it does sound like we will be in Old Trafford next season, at least if that's anything to go on. INEOS are doing work, and I can't fault them for that. You can't deny it. They're doing work, and more than the Glazers have done, and that's not necessarily hard to do. Literally, if you go to Old Trafford and you buy a bottle of water or you go buy a cup of coffee in the cafe, you've already spent more than the Glazers have. So you can do that. I don't have necessarily a problem with spending money at the stadium these days because the Glazers aren't allowed dividends for a while, so I feel like it's not going towards them anymore. So I'm relaxing my stance on that a little bit. I will not be buying the new home shirt. I can't justify spending almost $200 on a long sleeve authentic with a name and badge. I don't really get a name and or patches anymore these days, but this is not a United strip. Obviously, this is Livonia City FC. This is the Midwest Premier League club that I used to be on the board for. I'm wearing this to kind of celebrate their 7-0 win at the weekend over Ipsy Yetis FC. So big up Livonia City, hashtag up the Wheats. If you know, you know. Euros, who's still watching the Euros? I'm not going to lie, those matches yesterday were kind of boring. I'm not trying to diss anybody. Of the two, I thought Portugal's match against Slovenia was a little bit more exciting than the France-Belgium game. Portugal did struggle a little bit. They weren't really quite able to get going. But what a performance though from Diogo Costa, right? He saved that. He had that one-on-one chance after Pepe gave away that ball and led to a breakaway basically. And then 3 penalty saves in a row in that shootout for Diogo Costa. That is immense. Again, go read Ben Littleton's book 12 Yards if you want to learn a little bit about penalties and the odds and the statistics involved. But three saves in a row on the penalty shootout is intense. Diogo Costa, Sam Veed. Hi man, how you doing? Remember, Sam Veed, Parvujuli. If I said your name wrong, sorry. hit me up at unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com, man. You won the giveaway on the pre-match, but I need to know your details to send that to you, man. Hit me up, unitedstatesofunited@gmail.com, and I will get that out to you as soon as I can, man. I appreciate all the support. Appreciate the big up, man. But yeah, Diogo Costa, that performance yesterday for Portugal. Diogo Costa is going to go for 100 million when he leaves Porto. I'm just throwing that out there right now. You can clip that up. He will go for over 100 million. He will be the first keeper to go for 100 million. I'm telling you right now. Diogo Costa is the truth. I thought Conceição looked good. The little young winger. You could tell he's raw. He's young. I liked him at Ajax, though. He came in, kind of started featuring after Anthony left. Another young Portuguese winger. I think he's on loan. He was on loan last season, I believe. Quote me on that. Sam Veed, I don't care if you're in Nepal, man. I will check the postage. I don't have a problem with posting the people in like Ireland and stuff. But let me know, dude, what you really want to do, and we'll do that. I don't have a problem with it. Honestly, it's the giveaway. It's for you, my friend. On Portugal, though, Ronaldo needs to be taken off free kicks like yesterday. He needed to be. I know he wants goals. I know he backs himself. I get that. When was the last time Ronaldo scored from a direct free kick, though? Can anyone tell me? Has he scored any at Al Nassr? Does anyone watch the Saudi league? He hasn't made one in so long, and I feel like Ronaldo is good at a lot of different things. I feel like on free kicks, though, especially when you're able to put them in the box, I would rather have Ronaldo in the box waiting to get on the end of one of those with a header or something. Like put Bruno on free kicks, let Ronaldo get on the end of it rather than let Ronaldo try to score. He tried to pretty much score from that odd angle that was way out off to the left, too. Doesn't make sense to me. Stick him in the box, let him get on the end of a header and be fine. Belgium versus France, that was a bit boring, if I'm honest. It felt like kind of like when City and Liverpool play each other. It's just boring. Everyone's very careful. And I get it. It's what you want to do sometimes. It just wasn't very exciting to watch personally for me. Obviously, France ended up winning, but you can kind of see why they're not my favorites, one of my favorites to win the Euros. France, to me at least, haven't looked super, super convincing. Some of the individual players have looked decent. Like, I didn't think Rabiot was great yesterday. His last match before that, I thought he was really, really good. Obviously, Mbappe's got struggling with that facial injury. But I think Koundé's kind of wasted as a right back. He does a fine job, but I think Koundé's better as a center back. If I were Deschamps or whoever's going to be in charge next, I'd almost like to see them try with a back three, let Koundé play on the right, where he's still defending, but he can maybe get forward a little bit more. But how Belgium continue to just baffle and disappoint me, despite their hype and their world ranking. Honestly, it baffles me how Belgium are thought to be so good. They've never looked good when I've watched Belgium play. They just haven't. And I'm not trying to be a diss. It's just they haven't ever looked good. They had that golden generation, which they got to like the semis a couple years. They just haven't ever looked super convincing, Belgium. And I think that yesterday was another example of that. They just couldn't quite get it done. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens with the rest of these Euros. Let me know your picks, who your favorites. I'm still thinking it's going to be between Spain and Germany to win this thing. They have looked the most dangerous, most convincing of all the sides that I've watched today. We've got the Netherlands here in a little while. Probably watch them, and we'll go from there. But let me know your thoughts. That is going to do it for me today, everyone. I appreciate you stopping by. Sam V, let me know what your thoughts, man. Send me an email, and I'll check postage on it and see what it is, and then we can go from there. Sam V, Spain is pretty good, but Germany still has that extra. Germany just, I don't know if it's a Nagelsmann thing. I don't know if they're hitting like this generation right at the right time with like a Wirtz and the Musiala and these guys all at the right time, but they just look very, very clinical. Like I don't feel like we've seen Germany have to even go up a gear yet. I feel like they've just been kind of half-assing it this whole time almost. And that's trying to diss all the other competition. I don't think we've seen Germany at their best yet. And so I think that Germany's best is yet to come. But Germany, to me, looked the most convincing. Spain just quietly going about their business as well. They've been racking up lots of goals. So Spain, Germany. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know, what you think of the last couple match days in the Euros. Portugal obviously going through, France going through. They'll be playing each other, I believe, right? So it will play that Euros from, what was that, 2016, the Euro final. So that's going to do it for me today, guys. I'm on my way to go run some errands. Might play a little disc golf if I get some time. You guys ever play disc golf? I've been playing that for like 20 years. I haven't played in a while, but it's funny. I was telling a friend, I play foot golf with a soccer ball or a football. I play disc golf. I don't play real, like actual golf, with the golf clubs. I don't play that. It's not something that I do. But let me know what you guys are up to today. Let me know your thoughts in the Euros. And barring any major announcements, transfer-wise or recruitment-wise or whatever, I will see you guys on the next video. And hopefully next week, announce a winner for that other giveaway. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Thanks.